Hey, welcome back to D-Lab, everyone. On the bench today we have a vintage Oahu amplifier. I don't see these very often. This one has seen better days. But the owner told me what the main issue is. This power switch is seized. I do not know the exact model number of this amp. It looks pretty much stock. It runs a 12AY7, 6V6 and a 5Y3. But he can't turn the thing on, and I'm sure it's also going to need filter caps, etc. But the first thing I need to do is get this thing powered up and see if we get anything out of the amp. So for a controlled power up, I'm going to be using my Variac. Somebody did a lovely splice to the power cord, but of course that will be coming off. So I'm bringing up the Variac and I'm seeing current draw. So that switch is on. I don't know where the volume's at, but I just need to make sure that the amp will at least power up before I go into the repair mode. I think I'm seeing the dial lamp. Yep, it's a good sign. See if we can get anything out of her. I'm up to about 90 volts. No signs of life. There may not be any high voltage. Well, at least it powers up, so we can go from there. Alright, I'm monitoring pin 3 of the 6V6, and you can see we do have high voltage. So I'm going to go ahead and power it down, pull the chassis out, and we will start the repair of the Oahu. So I'm going to start by changing out the seized up pot. Hopefully, once we can get the pot to move, we may be able to get a little bit of noise out of the amp. Alright, there's the old pot retracted, making room for the new Audio Taper Alpha 500K with a switch on the back. Alright, the volume pot is changed out, so let's see if we can get any kind of wisp of amplification out of this guy. So I now have an operational volume pot. Hearing something. I popped in a plug up here. Oh yeah. So the amp is working. So the volume pot solved that problem, but I'm sure the filter cap needs to be replaced. Let's take a look at it. Here's the filter cap. It's 20-10-10 at 450 volts. This is the old original. The problem is with these caps is they only measure about 1 inch in diameter. So finding these replacements are pretty tough. So what I'm going to replace it with is this little 3-in-1 multi-cap system. And you can find these on sledseats.com. I'll post that link. The guy that makes these is a fellow ham, W8AOR. His name is Scott King. I met him at the Ham Fest in Marshall. So you take this little cap assembly, you build it up with individual radio caps, and then drill out this base, screw this guy in, and there's some turrets that go underneath. I'll get it all assembled and give you a guided tour. Here is my 3-in-1 cap assembly ready to install into the amplifier. So I have my 3 radial caps. There's a spacer underneath them. If you look bottom side, you've got turrets for connections of your wires. Center is the common. So when you install your caps, make sure all 3 commons are going to that point. Alright, next step. I need to get this old guy off the chassis, drill out the holes, mount this guy up, and wire it. Well, there's the old crusty filter cap pulled. Now I need to bring in the new cap assembly from the top, get some screws, mount this ground lug, and wire it up. Alright, there's our new filter cap assembly installed. This is on top of the chassis, and there is the bottom side if you can see it. What's nice about this install is when this chassis is reinserted into the cabinet, you would never know that that old vintage filter cap wasn't there. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and get the grounded power cord installed, and then we'll retest the amp. I got the new power cord connected, powering up the amp. Do a test using its internal speaker. So the internal speaker appears to be fine, which is a good thing because I don't know where I'd find that speaker. It's pretty rare. The amp is good to go. Now here's the final test of the Oahu amp, fully assembled. I'm using my looper as an input. So she's seen better days, but the Oahu is playing again.